TwinOne SEE's material editor is a powerful tool that allows us to create materials to use in our software. To use the tool, we can choose whether to use pre-existing textures within the software library, or whether to use our own materials. In this video, we will import some textures and also use some textures within the library. To import textures into the software, just click on the Add Textures button. The textures that the software is able to read are PNG and JPEG files. To access the material editor, I will click the icon at the top right. The material editor panel is divided into 3 sections. The first section is where I have the preview of my material. I have the ability to rename it, to change the mesh previews, and to open the library and save my material. I can also access the material editor by double-clicking on the material in the library, or by directly clicking on my mesh. To understand which materials of my mesh are editable, I have the Highlight Material function. The highlight material is divided into 3 states: Off, Current, and All. The current mode will select the material I am currently editing. It is easy to see if the highlight material is active, as I will have a yellow border that identifies my mesh. If I switch to the All mode, every single editable part of the material will be colored randomly. By expanding the menu and opening the base material, I will find all the basic functions to manage the material. The textures must be in the PBR, Metal and Roughness workflow. I'm going to create my base material using the textures I imported. From the preview, I can see in real time the changes of my material. I can also drag my material on my asset to see my changes in real time. All textures that do not require additional textures can be filled using some predefined textures within the software. Within TwinOne SEE, there is a black map, a completely flat normal, a gray map, and a white map. These textures can fill some spaces where the PBR textures are not present. Now I have the Edit Material panel. In this panel, I can manage multiple functions. The first function is the color of my material. The second function is the tiling of my texture. I can move the U and V sliders independently. If I am working with a square texture, I can click on the anchor button and move the U and V sliders at the same time. I can also choose to manually enter the values. Each slider can be overridden. In case I have entered a wrong value, I can always return to the default value by pressing the 3 dots that I find on the right. The Detail Normal tiling instead manages the textures of the Detail Normal. The Pan moves my texture along the U or V axis. We will see it better in the Graphics section. The Rotation instead rotates my texture. We have a full 360-degree rotation. These are the changes we can achieve in the base material. However, we can increase the level of complexity of our material by using the Graphics section. At first, the graphics layer will be off. By clicking the Add Artwork and the Mask button, we will activate the first layer. Nothing will seem to have happened. However, within our preview sphere, we see that something has in fact happened. Analyzing the graphics panel, we can see that we have some options that can be activated on layer 1. We can delete it or rename it. I can add up to 3 graphic layers. Below, we have the slot of artwork and the mask. Within TwinOne SEE, we will find the default masks and graphics. The points where the mask is white will allow us to see everything related to layer 1. Where it is black, I will see the previous layer, in this case, the base material. In the Textures panel, we have exactly the same options as for the base material. However, we have the possibility to modify them individually for each graphic layer. In the Edit Graphics sections, the commands also repeat themselves as in the base material. In this case, the pan effect is more evident than the pan of the base material. To mark the example more, we are going to insert a different mask. Now we are going to add the other 2 graphic layers. I can delete the layers whenever I want. Once I have configured my material, I am going to save it. In this case, I will create a variant even without graphic layers. I can decide to create a material by clicking on the Add Material button. In this case, I'm going to create a black plastic without using textures, but using only the values of the sliders. I can go back to editing my material at any time. Once I have finished my configuration, I can make my render and start a new material.